What's up everyone, this is Ryan here, and today we are going to be talking to Energo, where they are a renewable energy project in the blockchain space. Now, most of the time, most projects are always finance related in identity management, identity verification. We are looking at security tokens at the moment, but I think the sector of renewable energy isn't as widely talked about, despite the fact that it's a very huge market in the equity space. So today we were very privileged to have KK here from Energo, right? Hi, thank
Ryan.
you KK for coming. Yes, and she's in Singapore for how many days?
Only 2 days.
Oh, only 2 days. Yeah. And I think we want to cover this sector a little bit more in depth so that we better understand the use cases for renewable energy in the blockchain space. So KK, please share with us a little bit about how you gradually stepped into the space of the blockchain space, and why do you decide, out of all the many types of projects that we can do on the blockchain, why renewable energy? Okay. So a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so actually I don't have any relevancy experience in energy and the blockchain before. I major in English literature and French. Okay. So it's quite surprised, like people saying, hey, you must know a lot of the technology and you must know how to code blockchain. But actually I don't know. So,
okay. That's very honest of you.
Yeah, very honest. I try to be very honest. And at that, when I was in college, I invested 1 Bitcoin and some Ripple. Okay. So at that very first time, I don't know. Actually, I know nothing about blockchain. I just feel like, oh, it's a decentralized, it's a peer-to-peer. I mean, it's quite a utopia for me. So at that time, I think maybe I should just invest some money into it and let's wait and see. Later, like in 2016, I found there's some articles about like how decentralized renewable energy right now is coming up in the society, because you see in the future, like when we go through to the third industrial change, like more and more buildings, they will be a virtual power plants. Like any building, if they can install the solar panel, they can be a virtual power plants, right? So before, like when we talk about the power plants, you have to think about like there is a very huge one in remote areas, but later, like every building, like every building is behind us, they can have the solar panel and generates renewable energy for users to use. But how to manage all these decentralized renewable energy? It's also a challenge and for all the people, because big companies, they cannot control all the buildings. They cannot control the sun, right? So it's a chance that maybe, is it possible we can use the blockchain, digital decentralized world, to manage all these decentralized physical energy. So later I think, hey, maybe it's a big topic, because when we talk about sustainable renewable energy, but for me, for most of people, we don't feel like we have the incentive to do something, because it's such a big topic. And later, and also to be honest, I'm a super fan for Elon Musk. So I think the best way to support my hero is like, hey, I should do something in this sector. So later, I just quit my previous job, and we launched the project in 2016. At that time, it's not very hype stuff about blockchain and even ICO. So later, we think maybe what we want to do is we want to use the blockchain to disrupt the energy sector right now, because now the problem for the energy sector is how to have a high efficiency and how to have a lower carbon emission, and also how to ensure the energy security. That's a trilemma in energy sector. But we see the chance and the potential performance from blockchain to manage all these stuff. So we began this project in a quick time, and began to hire people from all over the world. And later, right now we have 30 people in my headquarters based in Shanghai. So that's all the story before we began this project.
And based on your experience, because you mentioned that you do not actually have experience in the renewable energy segment, sector, and also this is one of the biggest players that are here. Do you have any advisors, any advisors or any mentors that would assist you in building your business, especially for Energo?
Yeah, sure. We have an advisor from, his name is Cao Ying. He's one of the first people who proposed the blockchain energy, and also he's the first people in China who proposed the Internet of Energy. He's one of the leading people who's doing the renewable energy in blockchain and in internet, like energy of internet.
Right.
So he's one of the advisor, and also we get a lot of support from my. Actually, I think when we after we begin this project, more and more people, when they know what we're doing, they're very willing to help us. And there are several people, even it's a little bit sensitive for us, for these people to be our advisor, but they give us a lot of support. And if you check and throw back to all the events, all the hackathons, and all the different projects and products, they really give us a lot of support to teach us and to mentor us, say, hey, what you can do in the energy sector, because energy sector is a little bit, sensitive, or a little bit...
it's a bit dark.
Yes, and also there are a lot of monopoly.
Yes.
And so how to, as a startup, especially in blockchain sector, how you can get to your marketplace. Definitely we need more, experience and some suggestion from all these people. But for me, I think if we, because you see, we already run the project for over almost 2 years.
And how has that been for you?
I think it's a very great experience, and it's a significant experience, because what you are doing and what we're doing is changing the energy sector right now. It's not like we just put several technology and doing some new combination and do a new business. So what we're doing is try to disrupting this energy sector, and that's the first thing. And the second thing is, for the past 2 years, when we have more communication with big energy company, we found at the very first time, we think it's a bit contradiction to talk to them, because they think, hey, you try to steal my money, why I have to collaborate with you, right?
Yep.
But later we found what we are trying to do is trying to help all these big companies see, hey, there is a chance that you may get more money by using the renewable energy, by using a new technology, right? Because I think for the energy problem, it definitely cannot be solved from one startup. So I think education the market and have more impact for these big players is very important. You have to help these people to understand what's the value of the blockchain in energy sector.
Do you have any partners at this point of time who are existingly in the space that are very open to collaborate with you all?
Yeah.
Or has it still been very challenging for Energo to penetrate this market?
I think it's still very challenging, but what I see is it's getting better, because now you see we have more projects, we have more partners in energy sector that definitely showcase that they are trying to willing to embrace the blockchain technology right now.
Okay.
But we still have a lot of challenge, because as I mentioned, there are a lot of monopoly, and also somehow the energy sector is relevant to the infrastructure. That means you need some connection with the government.
Sure.
So somehow how to, lobby the governments, because most of the governments, this year is better, but before they are very sensitive to the crypto, to the digital currency, right? But how to, educate these people, saying, hey, do not be scared. It's not like a Ponzi or a scam. It's just a technology, or it's just a new thing that can bring the energy sector more innovation and even more chance to their business, then they will accept. And later I found how to convince these people is not, you cannot always say, hey, blockchain is very cool. You have to tell them, by using the blockchain, how much performance we can help you to increase for your business.
Yep.
They will be very willing to.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure.
So based on what you just mentioned, right, how does the Energo Protocol and the Energo platform actually help an existing energy business or renewable energy business benefit? Does it bring down costs? Does it actually optimize, make the whole operation more efficient? What does it do?
Okay, so technology from tech parts, we implement a blockchain in energy sector to help people. They can have more option to choose which kind of renewable energy they want to use. For example, the first pilot project we are running is in a campus microgrid. So we have 3 different buildings in it. And 1 building is installed a solar panel, and 2 don't have the solar panels. So we are using our technology to help these virtual users in this campus. They can test out, first is the proof of origin. Because when people both have the renewable energy and the fossil fuel, when it gets mixed, people cannot tell how much is from the renewable energy and how much is from the fossil fuel. So by using the blockchain and our solution, and also our blockchain animal smart meter, we can tell how much is from the renewable energy and how much renewable energy you have used, you have generated, and you you can have the access renewable energy to have a transaction. And that's the first test. And the second step, we test out our first, the first peer-to-peer energy trading platform into this campus microgrid. And also according to the data that I think we saved 1 million pesos for this campus microgrid. And also the performance is like we help these users, they can get higher profits, like around like 20% higher extra profits than using the traditional technology or the traditional business model. So that's all the things we can learn from the first POC project. And now we're trying to get a bigger one to scale up, to get more data, and we try to get more, the customer habits, because now we see it's like blockchain is still like, even it's not that hype, but if you want to have the real projects, you definitely need get more feedback from the users, right? So now we're trying to scale up and had more engagements with the end users to see what we can improve for the users, because I think we talked about this point last time in the meetup. It's like how we can bring to the users, because for these users, they don't really care about the technology behind the application.
Exactly.
Right? So for most of us in this room, we only care about whether this application can save the money, it's easy to use, or maybe this application can have more incentive for you to have some coupon, and that's it, right?
Yep.
So you definitely need to have a connection with these end users. And
is this ready? Is this app ready?
Yes,
it's ready?
Yeah.
Where is it deployed at the moment?
So now it's in the Philippines, the campus microgrid, and also the second project is also in the Philippines. We have now we plan to have
it's interesting that you're not setting this up in China and instead it's in Philippines.
Yeah.
Why Philippines?
So the first thing is, in Philippines, our solution can fix some problems for users, right? Because in China, the electricity price is not that expensive.
Yeah,
it's very low, and also the infrastructure is so good. I have to say that.
Right.
So there's no problem for users. If there's no problem for users, why we have to use blockchain? Just saying, hey, because it's decentralized, you have to use it, right? It doesn't make sense for the users. So first, you have to think about what's the problems you solve for the users. In the Philippines, the average of the electricity cost is like 20. It should be like equal renminbi. I'm not.
1 renminbi.
Yes.
1 renminbi for every kilowatt.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you probably we'll probably put like a little calculator conversion.
So. Yeah,
so 1 renminbi to 1 kilowatt, just for
1 RMB for 1 kilowatt.
Okay, so it's you can say that you're more catered to, I guess, the rural areas, not the main like for example Makati and all that. You're looking at the outskirts of Philippines,
yes,
right?
Especially for this community residential, because we see. Because you have to think about the infrastructure, because not everyone in the big city, they can have the rooftop to install the solar panel.
Yeah, that's right.
So so we think, so definitely, it's just like a normal product. You have to think about, you have to do the MRD, the marketing research, right? See what kind of problem we want to solve for this market.
Right.
And later, when you have some requirement, then you can deliver a product for these users. So I think once we get more research and feedback saying, hey, maybe it's a good market that we can use our solution in this specific area, not in China, because you have to solve some problems.
Sure.
And just like why we use Bitcoin at the very first time, because we want to transfer the money from my friends in the States, right? So that's why I use the Bitcoin.
Right.
Yeah, right. And even Ethereum, I think the Ethereum, because we can use the Ethereum to have another ICO projects, right? So you can have a lot of different scenarios to support the value. But if we don't have a real, business to support the value, people just dump it.
Definitely. Yeah. And that is the next thing that I probably want to talk about. I'm sure there are a lot of scams in this space as well, right? Especially with ICOs, around in the same category as you are. Let's not talk about the other kind of scams out there. So how does an investor, for example, really validate, because you're functioning in the Philippines, I'm in Singapore, how do I even validate that you actually have this business? Is there some kind of tracking that we can see on your website to know that this is being implemented? Or how do you update the community about the progress about your progress in Energo?
Yeah, I think first is the community interaction is very important, and also I think somehow like people they have little resource to understand the blockchain energy.
Sure.
Maybe some people or like investor, they want to know what's happening, but they don't have, they have limited resource to and a channel to, so you have to watch this this episode for our for our company, right?
Yeah.
And also I think this is the first step. First you have to prepare the regular updates for everything happening for your business to your investors, and even they are not your investor, you have to educate them, saying, hey, you have to provide these resources and channels. Even it's, I mean, it's a huge work. There are a lot of work you have to do. And second is like, I think we cannot only focus on the product and project, and also how to have more social impact is very important. Definitely. Because like everyone, I'm very keen on this topic, like inclusive.
Inclusivity.
Like, yes, it's very important, because now it seems like blockchain is still very exclusive in our industry, right?
It's starting to become that way.
Yeah, we should work on like this. And energy is everything for everyone.
That's right.
So definitely we should educate the markets and have more social impact to help people. They have the awareness, say, oh, if I can do that, I'm doing right thing to the renewable energy and the sustainable environment. But few people, they think, oh, I'm doing the right thing for it, because they feel nothing. They don't have the chance to being educated, and they don't have the channels or the network to get access to this kind of information. So I think all these things, maybe it's a little bit complicated work.
It is.
And also somehow people will say it won't help you for your market value or something like this, but it's something we have to do. It's just like, I have to say, like, energy is something we have to work on together, because it's relevant to anyone in every place. So,
and I think there's a lot of grassroots efforts that are actually happening in your organization at the moment. And I think that is kind of where every project should kind of start. Because what I noticed is that, back to the topic about scams and everything, is that whenever they raise the money, after a while, you notice that the whole communication for the investors that supported you just dies down. And that is what is frustrating about this space. So I'm very glad to hear that from you. And I think the most important right now is to kind of make sure that the community, especially those who are supporting Energo, and of course those who are watching, especially in the renewable energy space, either companies are aware about how you guys function. I think the transparency is very important.
Yes.
So is there a way that we can kind of build that trust over time, you know, with the community? How does Energo go about doing that at the moment?
Okay, so I have to be honest again, like somehow, like every startup, we will have, in different phases, we will have different problems. So I think for our company, like definitely we cannot make everything very well function in every specific detail for the communication. But our priority and our target is like try to explain everything, even we didn't make something right at the very first time. And I think what is the right communication is, I think somehow is just tell the truth. So that's why like everything about our partner, our projects, and our business plan, we won't say something very big or very, it's a very, how I say, like epic. Maybe it's not an epic picture, but we have to make sure what we provide to the investor is the truth, and it's something we can work on, and we can deliver the progress to the public. It's very important, because what I see in this industry is like there are more hype, and there are a lot of big pictures, and maybe they really want to try to make it happen, but somehow it didn't work out, right?
That's right.
So I think that's my only idea about like how to make the communication like more transparency is, first you have to tell the truth. What else problems you are faced with, and what's the obstacle or the challenge you are faced with, and also what you have achieved for the past few months, and what's your plan for your next few months. You have to tell the truth for your investors.
Right.
Yes.
So right now, especially for people who have, because your ICO was successful, right? How much do you guys raise during ICO?
Okay. Oh my God. It's I think at that time it's equivalent to $10 million.
10 million.
Yes.
Okay. So so far, how has that been allocated? As in, right now, what's the main focus, especially after you've raised the funds?
Okay.
Where has the funds been channeled to?
Okay, I think the biggest part is like the operation of the projects, because and also the R&D for the infrastructure, especially for the smart meter, our hardwares. Because what I see is like what we are doing is try to connect the gap from the physical world to the digital world. So we have to make sure it can be connected, because there are a lot of problems and the challenges into the real world, right? So I think right now, and I think currently and for long term, we have to we will focus, and also we will. I think the money and all the I think the dedication from the team will focus on how to bridge the gap from the physical world to the digital.
So you mentioned that you have a smart
meter.
meter.
Yeah, it's a hardware.
So right now, this smart meter, for now, I assume it's deployed to the homes.
Yes.
They are deployed to the homes.
Yes.
Is it given to given to them for free?
It depends. It depends, because.
So what's the model? Is it a freemium at the moment, where because you need the data, right? So is it given to? How is it deployed to them?
Okay, so right now it's not free, and the people, they have to pay the money. Yeah,
subscribe.
yes.
How is that coming along?
You mean the money, or?
As in, well, because you mentioned that this smart meter is already available, right?
Yes.
It's already a prototype, or it's already in deployment?
In deployment.
Okay.
Yes,
So right now, how do people in the Philippines, they apply for it?
Okay. So actually, our way is like we provide with our local partner, because it's a big problem for the energy sector. It's like in different specific areas, you have different policy and regulation. So now we partner with our local. We have partnership with local partners who
it's
run
an energy provider there.
Yes, they will run the infrastructure.
Right.
So
and
we run.
Is it possible to share the name of this partner?
I think.
No, it's not. Okay,
yes.
sure, no problem. Sure.
But definitely, I think every partner. So every project. When it is ready, we will unveil all the information about it.
Okay. Yes. So right now the deployment part is under NDU. You can't really mention it.
Yes.
It's this. So this phase is still not available. Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, what is the time frame that you see this deployment phase to be? How long are you expecting?
We try to make it like by the end of this year, we can make the hardware as a real or a good function, well-functioned product to the users. Because now it seems like it's still very ugly. It's not that ugly, but I think we try to make a good-looking and a good-to-use product for the users.
Right.
So even it's integrated with blockchain service, but when we present this product to the user, they have to like it, or they show the willingness to use it, right?
Yes, correct.
So I think that's the target for the end of this year.
That's
and
right.
Also,
so you're focusing on the actual adoption and user base.
Yes, okay. It's very important.
And that is kind of like where I see the whole space having to transition to.
Yeah.
Because I think the whole of last year and even the beginning of this year, you're having all these projects all raising money, right? Ungodly amounts, by the way. And then after that, they just have a very simple DApp or an app, and then products are not available, no MVP, but you are already working on the deployment.
Yeah, sure.
That's fantastic. So right now, apart from that, I think people want to know which blockchain did you choose to build your project on?
So our product is based on quantum blockchain. Yes. So when we launched the ICO, we already chose the quantum blockchain last year. Yes.
Okay. And any reason why you chose quantum over Ethereum or any other smart contract protocol? Okay,
so first is definitely because we are running a renewable energy project. So I think a POW-based blockchain
doesn't make sense,
right?
right?
Yes, because we have to run more power to sustain the nodes, right?
That's right.
So, and also I think based on the quantum blockchain, they have a better triggering events to the physical world, which fits to our hardware. So, and also we feel great support from the quantum team.
Yes.
So I think that just because some basic reason at that time we choose quantum. Yes.
Okay, so that is all the time that we have for this episode. And if you would like to watch more episodes on projects that are really popular in this space, or projects that you feel that could actually have more user base or more adoption, feel free to comment below, and of course we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you so much, KK.
I'll see you in Singapore again.
Bye.
Bye.